Good morning, friends. Today we are going to see about technical graphics. When we hear the word technical graphics, the very word comes to our mind is engineering graphics. Popularly in engineering courses, we come across the word engineering graphics being the language of engineers. Then what is called technical graphics? Technical graphics is as per the National Education Policy, that is the latest one. So many universities have started incorporating this national education policy in their courses, like whether it is being civil engineering or computer science engineering or even information technology. So all these branches have compulsory subject as technical graphics. The only difference is technical graphics has circuit drawings in addition to our main elements of normal engineering drawing syllabus. In this regard, we are going to see first about first angle projection and third angle projection. All of you know very well that in engineering graphics we come across four quadrants: first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant and fourth quadrant. Today we are going to see about the difference between first angle projection and third angle projection. Normally we incorporate in our syllabus first angle projection. Now we go into the details. In this video, we will clearly see what is called first angle projection and what difference this one holds from third angle projection. You can see the four quadrants. Let us write the heading first angle projection. We can view the four quadrants in which if an object is assumed to be placed in the first quadrant, it lies like this. Whereas the same object, if it is assumed to be placed in the third quadrant, it should be lying in the third quadrant. Whereas the remaining are second quadrant and fourth quadrant. According to definition, the first angle projection is the dealing with objects that are placed in the first quadrant. Whereas in third angle projection, the objects are assumed to be placed in the third quadrant like this. With this basic introduction of first angle projection and third angle projection, now we move into the discussion on differences between first angle and third angle projection. The first difference being the symbol. There is a popular symbol for first angle and third angle projection, and for the first angle projection the symbol is drawn so. Whereas in the case of third angle projection, just the inversion of the first angle symbol. So the symbol for third angle projection looks like this. The concentric circles comes on the right hand side and the tapered section comes on the left hand side for first angle projection, and the opposite is true for the third angle projection. The second difference being the very definition. Here in the case of first angle projection, the object is imagined to be in the first quadrant that we saw in the definition illustrated by means of the four quadrants here. This object is placed in the first quadrant. Whereas in the case of third angle projection, the object is placed in the third quadrant. The third difference being the object lies between observer and the plane of projection in the case of first angle projection. That also we saw clearly in the definition. Here we can see the object is placed between the projection plane and the observer. For example, for clarity, if we have to draw the observer's eye, we can draw like this. So the observer is placed here, the object is placed here in between the projection plane and the observer. Whereas in the case of third angle projection, the projection plane only lies between the observer and the object. Here we can see this. This is projection plane. This projection plane is lying between the object and the observer's eyepiece here. The same observer in the case of both. So the observer projection plane lies between the object and the observer. This being the fourth difference. The next difference is very important, that is transparency. Here in the case of first angle projection, the projection place is assumed to be not transparent. This plane is not transparent. That we can see logically through the diagram here. The object lies between the projection plane and the observer, so there is not at all any necessity that the plane to be transparent. It can be translucent. Whereas in the case of third angle projection, this projection plane needs to be transparent, assumed to be transparent, so that the observer can see the projection of the object on the projection plane. This is the main difference. If you understand and memorize this will be very, very essential and important when we are describing the answer, that is the difference between first angle and third angle projection. As a continuation, the next difference, in the case of first angle projection, the top view of the object comes below the front view, whereas in the case of third angle projection, the top view comes above the front view. First of all of us should understand what is top view, what is front view. If the observer sees like this from the right to left, the shadow of the object lies on the plane like this, that is front view. Whereas if the same observer shifts to the top, that is 90 degree above, if he sees the object from the top, this is called top view, and the intersection between the vertical plane and the horizontal plane is called XY line. So below the XY line we get the top view, and above the XY line we get the front view in the case of first angle projection. The same opposite holds good for third angle projection, that is illustrated with the sentence, the top view comes above the front view. So by means of practicing more front view and top view of different objects like prism or pyramid or simple solids on the planes of first quadrant and third quadrant, we can very clearly understand this particular difference. The right side view is drawn to the left of the elevation in the case of first angle projection, whereas it is drawn to the right side in the case of third angle projection. So thus we have clearly described what is called first angle projection by means of illustration of the first four quadrants and the discussion on the difference between first angle projection and third angle projection with symbol. So this is the symbol for first angle projection, whereas this is the symbol for third angle projection. Hope all of you now understand very well the difference between first angle projection and third angle projection. Thank you.